And now, it's time for the Josh and John Show.
Welcome to the Josh and John Show. Center left, center right, politics, sports, and everything else.
All of it.
Today we're talking about the NBA playoffs. John and I are big basketball fans. Not necessarily big NBA fans, but of course we watch it. We love the sport. Spurs are in it, and we still got the Heat-Pacers series going on. Game 7 indeed. I am shocked that we've gotten to Game 7. You got this super team that is the Heat against this very scrappy, very well-played Indiana Pacers game and our team, and now they're tied at 3-3. I mean, where do you think this series is going, John?
Hold on. Before we get into that, and you're right, Indiana, it's a hustling team.
Absolutely.
They hustle.
A la Detroit Pistons.
Sure, yes, exactly. Yes. But before we go into that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the state of the NBA.
Okay.
And beginning with LeBron. So LeBron...
The King.
Yes, also known in the NBA realm as the King.
Your Grace.
Yeah. But, and that actually leads into my point, is the state of the NBA, starting with LeBron, the King, flopping.
Okay.
He's been fined several times now for flopping. He said, and this isn't a direct quote, but he said roughly, he feels that it's okay because it gives him a competitive advantage.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So does steroids.
Right. And that's a good point. And
so does steroids.
And are you trying... I'm trying to understand what you're saying, that LeBron James is almost a microcosm of what's wrong with the NBA today?
Well, I'd say more than a microcosm.
Okay.
You know, it's the me. Mm-hmm. It's the me. Me.
Right.
No team. And that's obvious. He ditched Cleveland. Not directly his hometown, but his home state.
Mm-hmm.
Joins this super team, coordinates the whole thing.
Right.
And that's where I have a problem.
Bosh, obviously, sure. D-Wade's already there.
And that's where I have the problem, is this isn't at a GM level.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the Dodgers. This isn't an organization that says we need to calculate to put the best team together. It's, hey, me and my buddies, we're good, we're the best, let's play together, forget the rest of the
Right,
NBA.
we're going to form the super intramural team and just slaughter the rest of these, like, half-leets that are out there in the NBA. And you know what, and that's a good point. I mean, we are in this interesting era of these super teams. You know, it's multiple super teams that are just coming together to the point where I even agree with LeBron that there's some teams in the NBA that shouldn't even be there.
And I believe Kobe said something.
Yeah, and Kobe addressed to that too. But we do have on the Josh and John Show our special contributor, Bill Ebanks. And Bill, I understand you're also a big basketball fan, been watching for years. What's your opinion about the state of the NBA? And, you know, maybe you want to address the super teams directly, but... Is the integrity lost? Is this just the new era of basketball? What do you think?
Well, thanks once again for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy listening to you guys. But I'm going to tell you, like a lot of what I hear about the complaining about the referees, about the way the basketball has been going. It's been going on a long time. I remember as a young man, and I've been around a little longer than you guys. I remember in the a little bit. I remember watching the Knicks in the 90s, the Knicks in the 80s, the Knicks in the 70s. I'm sorry.
Championship Knicks.
The Knicks.
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Right.
Great teams.
And I always complained about refereeing. I always thought the game was fixed. Since I was a kid, I would say, no, this series is going to go 7 games because they need the commercials.
Right, and there's the referee scandal, crisis, whatever, but...
Yeah.
But let me bring back to what I was even just talking about at the beginning, like the fact that the Heat and the Pacers are going into a Game 7 situation. Are the super teams really that super? I mean,
no.
Because I think they can be beat. I mean, what do you think, John?
You know, I would say it is super to a certain extent, and I know Bill's gonna definitely want to speak on this one. I think if the Knicks, you know, barring injury and barring a few games, I think if the Knicks really got something together, I think that we'd see a Knicks-Spurs finals right now.
Okay, first of all...
despite LeBron.
First of all, everybody knows in New York that if J.R. Smith had come through and supported Carmelo, there's no doubt about it that they would have been facing the Miami Heat. And everybody knows, and I think they should if they don't, that the only team that's going, and we're going into Game 7 with Indiana, right?
Right.
We're going in, right? The only team that could beat the Miami Heat is the New York Knicks, because the New York Knicks had a well-balanced attack, but if they attacked them the way they did in the playoffs, J.R. Smith not being present.
And that's a good point, but the Knicks are also, I mean, they're out. They didn't win. I mean,
yeah, they're out.
They're done. And so,
well, Carmelo Anthony right now is complaining and speaking out about having another scorer. If the Knicks were to get another scorer on that team, another top-notch scorer, another superstar, we're talking about a 5, 6, 7, 8-year reign because of the young players like Shumpert,
right,
and Copeland. We're talking about some solid young players that are going to step up, and even J.R. Smith, and even those guys will be around for a long time. We're going to have a good team in New York. Yeah,
and you know, I love the enthusiasm. I know it's been painful probably to be a Knicks fan for the past 15 years or so.
No, for the past 50 years.
50 years. Or so. I mean, I remember when they
100.
had Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing, and at least
John
they were,
Starks.
Yeah, John Starks. I mean, the great teams.
That was great. Yeah.
But John, I want to ask you. LeBron James, obviously, he kind of is a focal point of the NBA. Now, LeBron is a very marketable player, and that's very intentional. He wants to be marketable. Is LeBron James good for the NBA? Is he good for basketball?
Well, I think he's definitely good for the Miami Heat. When it comes to basketball, ratings fluctuate.
Right.
But the problem is, look at baseball. Look at football. There's no super teams. Jay-Z picks up Geno Smith. There's controversy. He's not certified. There's a little more checks and balances. With the NBA, it's, hey, we play basketball. We're better than everybody. Let's join. And is that good for the game? No. Otherwise, you wouldn't see Kobe and LeBron making comments saying that they should cut teams out of the league.
Right. But Bill, going off that, Bill, I want to understand from the years you've been watching basketball, has it always been like a me game, where it's a series of individuals just dominating that season, the game itself?
It's a good question.
Oh, that's a very good question. But the thing is, I'm going to be honest, and I hate to say it, but a little narcissism here. I played high school basketball in New York City. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was one of the shortest point guards in the city.
Still is.
Yeah. That's a record.
Right,
still
that's a record.
Yeah, I heard that, right? But you know what? The thing about it was a me game, but it was a team game.
Yes.
Right.
Like, in other words, you gave it all you got, and they gave it all they got, and it worked out.
Well, let me interject.
Okay.
Real quick. And I also played high school basketball. We've all thrown the ball around, with our friends and whatnot.
Yeah, I've heard.
But though, with that being said, it's a me game, and it is. And I'm not saying that it's not.
So why not enjoy it?
Right.
For a me game.
But you can enjoy it. But don't you think there comes a point where the me needs to kind of leave the game and look at the San Antonio Spurs, which, if Miami does win, they are going to face. That's a team game.
Oh, that's a team. That's a team. Yeah,
they're known for a team.
Very much of a team.
So now it boils down, if you got a team versus the me, where do the refs play in?
Well, the Knicks were a classic example this year of a team that really needed a team effort, right?
And they didn't have it. So Bill, where do you think, as far as this is could this maybe be a monumental time for the NBA to see if indeed Miami does win and advance to the finals? Is this a monumental time to see whether a team beats more of a me type style of play?
No, not at all. Me is not ever the final end to any sports team. I'm sorry, the New York Yankees, the great San Francisco 49er team was never about me, because if you look at Babe Ruth, he always had a supporting cast.
Right.
If you look at Joe Montana, he always had a supporting cast. Now we're talking about
Troy Aikman.
We're talking about.
I know Josh wants to hear that one.
Oh yeah, I love.
And at one point, Dallas was good.
They were great.
Are you telling me that
they were great?
Are you telling me we have a Cowboy fan on the show?
Huge Cowboy fan.
Oh,
you know. And I'm still alive. I'm surprised my heart hasn't exploded.
Do you want to expose that though? Because we can edit that out.
No, I stand by my statement. I am a Cowboys fan till the day I die. But I just want to make a quick point about what we're talking about in terms of the me game versus the team game. You know, I like what you said, Bill, a second ago in terms of the NBA has always had officiating drama or questions about that. That actually does make me feel a lot better about the game, that this is something that's been going on. Granted, it's a problem. Can we fix it? Who knows? Maybe it's just part of the game. But what I want to say is that there are examples in professional basketball of the team games who do overcome the super teams. And you know, I said it earlier, but it was a 2003 Detroit Pistons that beat the Lakers.
Great team.
That was a great team that beat this team that was just thrown together. You got Karl Malone, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Gary Payton the Glove, one of my favorites. You know, Karl Malone and Peyton were there basically because they just wanted a ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're great players. And, you know, if you want to get they deserve the ring argument, you can. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But Karl Malone didn't get a ring. And he got to the playoffs, and he lost to Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton. You know, that brought my faith back into basketball. I mean, do you guys think that that's still possible with a team like the Pacers? Are they a new? Would that be a savant of basketball for you?
To flip the other side of the coin, what do you think, Josh? I mean, who do you have? And we're speculating. I mean, Indiana is a good team.
They're playing way better than anyone thought.
Sure. So with that being said, let's say the super team, LeBron, mainly the king. Let's say he does escape Game 7 at home, which he should.
Right.
So what's your call?
I mean,
what's your call? Spurs, Heat.
I think it's Spurs, Heat, and I think the Heat win the championship.
How many games? Whoa.
How many games in the finals?
I'm going to ask you, Josh, and then I'm going to ask Bill.
I think the Heat. Obviously, I think they're going to win Game 7 against the Pacers, and I think the Heat win it in 6 games for the championship.
Bill, what say you?
Well, if you're talking to me, let me tell you what
we are.
Let me tell you what I believe. I believe that the Heat probably will win, even though I hope they don't, because I believe that LeBron James is the cheapest player in sports history. I think he bought out in every way than you can imagine. I think that when history looks back at LeBron James, they will never be able to understand how cheap of a man, of a human being he was.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, I do believe that you look at the past and you look at the people like Patrick Ewing, and you brought up
Well, we know you're not shy on the loyalty towards the Knicks.
But do you think Miami's going to win
No,
it?
you look at the people like
Miami Spurs, though.
it's going to be Miami winning in the Spurs. But you look at people like Karl Malone, you look at people like Patrick Ewing that stuck with their teams. These are the true NBA superstars, the true heroes. That people can look back at and say, hey, you know what?
Well, and
I loved my team.
yeah, and I like that point. I actually love that point.
Unfortunately, Michael Jordan beat all of them.
Right, but though,
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
right.
true.
Right.
That's true. But though, the point still remains that don't you think Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, and say even Sean Kemp could have made a
Digging deep,
super
John,
team?
digging
Yeah,
deep.
yeah, man, I am.
Yeah.
But don't you think those three, on a player level, what if they would have joined a super team?
They could have done it.
But that's-
And should they have?
I mean, maybe. You know.
That's what I'm talking about.
But we're and
It's exactly what I'm talking about.
I think and I agree. I think it's exactly what you're talking about too. But we're like take the teams that Michael Jordan beat.
We don't have time.
I
Like
know,
the
I know we don't have
Knicks.
time. But just
We don't have
briefly,
time for that,
just to wrap it up, he did beat the Phoenix Suns with Barkley.
Jason Kidd.
Or
Kevin Johnson.
Kevin
Wait,
Johnson.
stop. A New York Knicks with with Patrick Ewing,
Right.
with
He
John
beat Johnson.
Starks. I mean, come on.
Oakley.
And
Oakley.
that Jazz team with Stockton and
Twice.
and
He beat him
Malone.
twice.
Right, he beat him twice.
The
So
New York Knicks aren't 4-time champions because of Michael Jordan.
yeah, and and Scottie Pippen,
Oh,
so on and so
Bart
forth.
Bryant.
I think Scottie
B.J.
Pippen,
Armstrong.
Scottie Pippen is the Tonto of our times. But
Right.
guys, again, gosh, there's so much more NBA
Oh,
coming,
yeah.
and I think this Game 7 is pivotal. I am going for the Pacers. If you want my honest
I'm gonna
opinion,
watch it.
I want the Pacers to win. I think it's
I'm
better.
going for the Pacers too, man.
Yeah,
I
I think it's.
got the Pacers.
I think we all do. I think we all almost agree it's better for the game. But Bill, always a pleasure. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for your
Thank you for
insight.
having me.
Oh,
Thank you for
absolutely.
having
And
me.
John,
Thank you.
Good luck with the Pacers. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. The Josh and John Show.
We'll see you next session. More than likely.
I hope so.